Hi there, and welcome to the Call to Cinema. Hopefully, you guys are doing okay today because I'm here with a brand new setup and I just wanted to try it out and see how that was going. So, when you come in here, let me know if you can hear me okay. For one, we'll start with that. And we're going to talk some Argento today. I was supposed to do a video last night because yesterday was Dario Argento's birthday. And as you guys know, I'm a huge fan of Argento. I love his stuff. I got to see Argento when I was young, probably when I was too young to see Argento. Um, so hi there. What you're seeing now may not look a lot different to you, but it's an extremely different setup for me. Hey there, Day. Hey there, Logan. He's getting thick. So can you guys hear me okay? First, because I'm doing this differently. So first, I want to make sure that the everything's coming through okay. Hey there, Alan. Excellent. So I have a new mic, and as you can see, I'm not like pinned up. I used the mic the first time on the one that I did with Cinema Dave, and I also have a new camera. So we are working with that. Hello from Randy Chicago. Hopefully you guys are doing okay out there. Tonight we're talking about Argento and some of his better works, in my opinion, and some of the works that you consider his better works. So I don't just want my opinion on what I think are some of the great Argento films. I want your opinion on some of the great Argento films. Now, I'm going to know some people's, I can guess some people's right away. Logan, I know you're going to be talking about Phenomenon. That's your favorite. Because I have a bit of a good memory when it comes to stuff like that anyway, which is one of my favorites. My all-time favorite, everybody knows, it's Tenebrae. By the way, when I move away from the mic this time, I you won't be able to hear me as well. Hey there, Amy. So when I go over there, you won't be able to hear me the way that you could before. I am working on a new iPad, so that's always a plus. The plus about that is I can use my older iPad, the broken one, when we're looking at sales, and so I don't always have to go and bring my computer like and drag it down over the stairs and or just make you guys go upstairs if I when we're going out and we're talking sales and like new releases and stuff like that. I can actually just go in right to here and just click on like the new stuff that's coming out. So that's a new component to the videos, and hopefully you'll enjoy that. So just to give you an idea of what I mean, let's just make sure this goes through here. Okay, my new mic is better. Excellent. Thank you, Alan. That's something that I needed to know. Any of the feedback you guys can give is going to be much appreciated. I am working on putting a lot more time and effort into this channel. I do have a lot of news coming up, especially for October to tell you guys about. And what I'm hoping is going to be good news for you guys is basically I am going to be going to see my family in October. So that means I'm going to be seeing my dad in October. And that also means that those videos that I promised were going to come in around November, those Amicus Hammer Jess Franco videos that I was going to do in conjunction with my dad, well, those are coming sooner than expected. Now you may get a couple pre-tape videos over the 31 Days of Horror because I'm going to be traveling, but you are going to get some really cool stuff with me and my dad and chatting, maybe arguing a bit about which movies we consider better and which company we consider better. We're going to do a Amicus versus Hammer video. We hope to do a Jess Franco video, talk about Jess Franco, Lena Romay, stuff like that. So there's a lot of really cool stuff coming up, and hopefully you guys are going to enjoy that a lot. So that's one of the first things that I wanted to announce. So I got a new setup. Uh, I'm going to be trying to like get more, like instead of like just trying to get like if a release is announced, I no longer going to have to look like have try and do this on my phone here, or be stuck into like having a computer behind me with a light. I will actually be using an iPad so you guys can see it, and that way if there's any special features, any of that type of stuff, we'll be able to look into that as well. I want to talk about Argento today, and I'm going to get to that. Don't worry, but I just had a lot of stuff, a lot of housekeeping to get out of the way. Yesterday, when I planned to do this video, we took the night, we came down here, and we basically did a thorough cleaning of the movie library. So, because the cats, we had gotten the movies like from the bottom shelf. That's what you're seeing. Like if you look in the background, you can see like there's movies like kind of like on top of movies right now. And the basic reason for that is because those movies down low, the cats were getting close, perilously close to peeing with those films. So we had to get them up as soon as possible and get like a whole like thorough cleaning here, get things done up. So hopefully you guys will enjoy that. I want to get some of my. All right. So just for an example, we'll use like if I wanted to talk about Vinegar Syndrome's Alphabet City release, you can actually, hopefully, see it here and kind of the mono style cover that it has. Which, by the way, I do have to get. I really liked the episode of Just to This that Brian did with the guy that does this company, Fun City Editions. Really, really good. Am I getting ready for winter? Winter is coming, Alan. I don't know if I'm ready. I got the beard. I've got the beard for winter. I can almost be Santa Claus now. Um, I gotta get some beard oil actually. I gotta get some good beard oil. Anyway, so I apologize. I'm distracted. If you don't know this, hey, they're missing. A new episode of Cobwebs, a Gothic Cinema podcast, just dropped today, and it's the one with me talking with Daniel, who's the host of a Gothic Cinema podcast, the Cobwebs, talking about the William Castle film 13 Ghosts and the remake of it. And hopefully you guys listen to that because we had a lot of fun doing it. And if you listen to my the episode I was on before, The Mummy, I had a blast. And hopefully I'll be on Cobwebs again, and in sometime in the near future. And hopefully I'll be on Just to This again sometime in the near future as well, because there's some like really great stuff. Hey there, Dave. Did you check out the Walmart? Did you check out for the stuff? Because I saw your messages and I did respond to you back there. Um, because we got some really cool stuff. So, without having to go into it too much, my favorite Argento film is, and we'll get into that right now, and we'll look at stuff if there's any like sales coming out or anything like that. We'll look into that as well. My favorite Argento film so far that I've seen is probably the one that you remember most. Like is one like me telling you is Tenebrae, and I don't know how much more I can give on that one than I've already given. So let's talk about some other Argento films because Tenebrae, if you haven't seen it, it's not only is it incredible, but it's one where you need the soundtrack. The soundtrack is that good. The Mother's Trilogy. You like the Mother's Trilogy? I'm okay with the Mother's Trilogy. I think that he waited too long on the third film. See, the Mother of Tears, I like. I don't love it, but I do like it. And I think if he'd done it earlier, uh, it may have worked a bit better. And I do like that some of the cast that's in Mother of Tears. And I just think that if he would have had like a bigger budget behind it, a bit more push, he'd been able to do a lot more with Mother of Tears. And that's the thing that you're going to notice when you're watching Argento. If you've never watched Dario Argento's films, well, Argento was one of the kind of the premier guys when it came to the slasher genre. Oh, sorry, to the giallo genre. But not only did he work with giallo, but he also worked with like these really good supernatural films as well, movies like Suspiria and Inferno and Phenomenon, ones that were kind of like walked the razor's edge between giallo and the supernatural. And he did such an amazing job with it that when other films would come out, like later films, like, well, let's be honest, there's only one really, in my opinion, really, really kind of like super bad, like Argento film, and that's Dracula 3D. And even that, I can have fun with. Even that one I can watch. Well, the washing machine is Gregorio Diodato. So a great giallo film, Alan, but for another day, because we would do a Diodato day. Diodato day, I like that actually. So yeah, we'll work with that. So, I want to start where it starts. Birth Crystal Plumage is the very first of his work. It is based on Screaming Mimi, and we'll get to Deep Red too. And I love Birth Crystal Plumage. I think I got another edition of this, but This is my original edition of Birth Crystal Plumage right here. This was from Arrow Video when they did the slipcover ones. Did you have the Creepshow one already? Because if you didn't, now $30 is a good price for it. And these were great editions, by the way. I love this slipcover, by the way. Opera is one of your favorites. I actually love opera. Hey there, Sculptor. I got opera over there too. See, opera was one of the later ones, and some people consider opera his last truly great film. Welcome back. Uh, they consider opera like his last truly great film and his last truly great giallo. It has some amazing cinematography, and nobody ever forgets the razor blade under the eye scene in opera. Nobody ever forgets the sequence in opera where basically they're looking through the peephole. He's he's one of those. When I was young, we had like a small theater in my area, and they played a lot of Argento. They played a lot of it in the theater. Obviously, it wasn't at the time that the movies came out, but they could do that because it was a lot easier to do to show Argento because it was lower. Uh, it was pretty much lower price to get than than it was to show like a newer film like E.T. or Conan the Barbarian or I don't know whatever it was out at the time. So I got to see a lot of that. So where a lot of kids were going in and they were seeing like a lot of the latest films and they're seeing a lot of like the action films and sci-fi films of the time. I would still see those when I go up like farther up in town, but on a regular basis, I was watching more Argento stuff and more the giallo and slasher stuff. That's what my theater showed. I was very lucky that way, actually. Just started getting into Argento during the pandemic. What was your favorite one, Will? What was your first one, actually? What did you start with? Because it really depends on like what you start with. Oh, by the way, T-shirt today is The Exorcist, courtesy of Walmart, which where I bought it at, because this may be going on in the drive-in soon, and I definitely want to see it. Phantom of the Opera. See, Retro, I go back and forth with Phantom of the Opera. Like I love Julian Sands. I think Julian Sands is a great actor. Uh, but there is a lot wrong with Phantom of the Opera. There's like a ton wrong with that. Now, there's for those that aren't aware, and I'm sure you guys all are, there is a Terror at the Opera, which Argento did, which is an amazing giallo. Hey, there's Cinematech. And there is Phantom of the Opera, which is not so amazing. Um, it's one of the weaker spots for Argento's work. He wanted to try something different, and I get what he wanted to go with. Basically, his idea was to make the Phantom of the Opera more of a psychological character, um, kind of like Kane uh, in WWE. Hey, Josephine. Do I share any birthdays with any famous actors or filmmakers? I don't know. My birthday is March 31st. I'll check later. Um, so what he did was he basically just said, okay, in this version of Phantom of the Opera, all of his scars are going to be psychological. So they could still have the Julian Sands, who kind of like the European attractive like um, guy, but and still have him be the Phantom of the Opera. But instead of his scars being something that would be like all over his face, they would be more of a psychological type of scar, and he would kind of go in the more the Hammer way for the Phantom of the Opera with the rat catcher and like that type of thing. So there are some interesting concepts with Phantom of the Opera. As first I heard you. Yeah, Isaiah is in Phantom of the. Oh, she's in Dracula 3D too, but she's not as good in Dracula 3D, and I don't know why because Asia Argento is a great actress. Well, she's really good in what she does, but for some reason, like that Dracula 3D, it did nobody any favors. Sans was Sans was good for what Sans had to do. Do I own Paper Moon? I don't actually. So this would be the first one to go with, though. This is the birth crystal plumage. If you can see this one first, like someone there said they didn't see this one coming. Uh, your friend but Jack the 3D in his top, like legitimately, or like as in like this is one of my top five Argentos, and kind of winked a bit, because there's there's a difference there. Tell you what, let's do this. Since I'm not using the iPad for anything else right now, this one I'm going to open up the your comments on here, and hopefully I can see them a bit better. All right, there we go. No, no, watch them anyway. Will I mean like, what's the latest one you saw? Steinhall syndrome is one of Aziz Argento's best works, right up there with Scarlet Diva. Like it's an excellent like film. It is a great giallo. You can't go wrong with Steinhall syndrome, in my opinion. It is gorgeously shot. It has some of the best looking uh, like sequences in in the whole like in the whole genre of in that Argento shot, like right up there with Suspiria and Inferno. Like Stendhal has some as some sequences that are filmed that are that brilliantly done, especially one near a painting. The only thing that I would have to say is a drawback from Stendhal syndrome is that it has a bit of a ghost ship route to it, and oh, Amsterdam, what was is different? That's Dick Moss, Alan. So we'll talk about him at a different time. But I do like that film. Uh, but with Steinhall syndrome, it is so good at the beginning, and it has such a strong opening, such amazing visuals at the front end of the film that we end up going into the latter end of the film, which is still a great film, but we've had so many like so much strength at the beginning of the film, uh, because we've seen like her how Steinhall syndrome actually affects her. It's a real thing. Steinhall syndrome is a real thing. You can Google it, guys. Um, and how it affects her, and when she's in the museum, how that affects her. When she gets taken by Thomas Ketchman's character, who actually is Dracula 3D in is Dracula in Dracula 3D. I'm pretty sure it's in Steinhall too. I think he's a killer in Steinhall actually. Well, sort of. And when she's taken by him and with the other girl, and I won't give away what happens, but there's a pretty like trigger warning. There's a pretty brutal moment uh, in that sequence of the film, and it has one of Sergio Stevoletti's best effects. You would see a similar effect, sort of like on his on the film, yeah, in opera. So there's a Sergio Stevoletti effect in the Stendhal syndrome. And if those who've seen both films or know exactly what I'm talking about, there's a Sergio Stevoletti effect in opera with a peephole that have a similarity to them, and so you can tell it's Stevoletti's work. Stevoletti, by the way, is pretty much he's the um, what would you call him? The Tom Savini of Italy. He's like this really good special effects artist, and he like directed the movie Wax Mask, which he took over from when Lucio Fulci passed away, and kind of made it his own thing. It was a very different film from Stevoletti's Wax Mask to what Lucio Fulci was going to do with the film. So if you're looking for like visual, like really visually like solid, really well done, done like Argento films. I wish I've been in Italy. Not yet. It's on my bucket list. Then I would say that you're looking towards like you're looking at Suspiria, you're looking at Inferno. All these early works are visually stunning, but like if you want like kind of art house, like just really as in like this really stands out as in like this could be an actual. You could take a frame of the film, you can frame it and make and put it in a museum. Uh, Sino has scenes like that. Inferno has scenes like that. Phenomenon has scenes like that, and so does Deep Red, and of course Suspiria does. But my favorite by bar none is Tenebrae, and the opening murder in Tenebrae, which is incredible, and of course the closing in in Tenebrae. The that last sequence and that last scream, you'll never forget. Once you watch Tenebrae, hey there, JR, you will never forget the last scream of Tenebrae. And 100%. Once you see Tenebrae for the first time, and Darren Niccolodi does that scream, you never forget that scream. It's your best scream. It's one of your. It's gonna be, if you've never seen it, it's one of your best movie screams. Get confused with the director of Giallo films because Giallo have similar feel. Well, that's the thing. Like they're supposed to kind of have like similar. Like some are different. Like there's different types of Giallo. Like when you look at an Argento Giallo and a Lucio Fulci Giallo, there's definitely a difference in like the style that they're done. And if you look at somebody like recently when I mentioned the Umberto Lenzi Giallos, they're very different. A completely different style than the Argento and like the Fulci Giallos would be. There's like two really like big framing points when it comes to Giallo, and one is kind of the art Giallo, like the slasher murder set piece type of Giallo that we see. Argento was really prominent with, and there was the earlier Giallo that was done, and this will kind of carry on later as well, and it'll be called a jet set Giallo. The zoom lens, Alberto Lenzi loved his zoom lenses and nude women, really did, yeah. And jet set jowls are different in that it a lot of times it has to do with things like you're going to see there may be like there's money involved, or there's an inheritance, or there's a rich widow, that type of thing, and it be set in like it's called jet set because it usually deals with richer people and going in different areas, and it'll have a very different play. It won't be like a body count giallo like you see a lot with the Argento stuff. That's more like the kind of the body count giallo. Oasis of Fear. I love Oasis of Fear. One of the sleaziest giallos you've ever seen, Cinematech. Oh man, you need to see Cinematech. I'm gonna say three words to you, and this is where you need to go to see your sleaziest giallo. Sister of Ursula. I'm coming right. Also, Strip Nude for Your Killer. That sounds a great choice as well. But if you like the sleazy giallos, Sister of Ursula and Strip Nude for Your Killer are definitely going to be the tops of those. Mario Bava inspired Argento visual to an extent. I mean, Bava had a certain style all his own, and I think that what Argento did was he saw what came before, but being a bit of a renegade, that's kind of what he was, and that's what a lot of these guys are. He said, he's young, he's cocky, he's like, that's great, but that's my dad's work, like that's my dad's style work. I think I can top that, and so he did. He said, it's fantastic, it'd be colorful, and to be like, but let's, he wanted to amp up the gore. And he wanted to like amp up the nudity. He wanted to just go really intense with it. So think of it this way. So hate to to do this, to say it like this, but I'm going to say it this way. Um, Say you're watching like a slasher film, and all of a sudden you're watching like a Rob Zombie or something slasher film. He's amped everything up. He's gone to that other level. Like I might be, may not work for me all the time, but there's a whole group, and often a younger group that it works completely for, because that's their next generation, man. Um, you had the Mario Bavs and stuff, and then Argento came along and he flipped the script. He said, okay, all that stuff was fantastic. It's nice to have those colors in there. It's nice to have those gloves, but we got to do more. And when he did it, other people followed suit. You like there's things like pieces, and like for a different one, kind of a different giallo like kind of like feel film that's not actually filmed in Italy, but one that was done in Canada. There's a movie called Curtains, and it is a weird hybrid between a slasher and a giallo, and it is pretty brilliantly shot. There's some really gorgeous sequences. Hey there, Cinema Dave. Cinema Dave just recently did another one of his. By the way, he's doing these Sunday. What do you call it? Sunday chat things. You do like this Sunday, and it's collaboration videos, and they're really good. So if you haven't checked them out, definitely check them out. Because Cinema Dave, he had me on his first one. I was very honored, hoping to be back again. And he had another one on recently, and I just actually got one queued up. Sunday Live. There you go. It's a great idea. That was a brilliant idea, Cinema Dave. One of these days, I will co-opt your idea and use it for like a video, but not on a regular basis. I won't do that. We will definitely do another one soon. I just mentioned I am going to in October. I'm going to visit my dad, so I'm actually very excited about that. So you're going to see, because I know you like the Hammer stuff. You're going to see a Hammer Amicus video come up there. Right now, we're doing some talk about Jello, about Argento, and about like the kind of like the way that things changed. Sleepless. Sleepless is really good. Sleepless is underrated. Like if you've never seen the movie Sleepless, and when I saw it, what was the name of it? Nuns, no, something. Anyway, it was an Italian name. Didn't have the word name Sleepless on it. And I think it's Maximilian Schill. Is it in sleep? No, Trauma is a different one. See, Trauma is great too. Trauma is the only Giallo that he did over here in North America. Because my dad said of his team, he always will. That's what he grew up with. Which are Argento's films do I think has the best soundtrack? With Josephine, I would say Tenebrae for me has the best soundtrack. Now that being said, you'd be solid with Deep Red and Suspiria as well. They all have fantastic soundtracks. Suspiria creeps me out a bit. Tenebrae is like one of those. It's just really really good, and I find that I listen to it like a lot. I used to work at a bank, and when I'd be doing like behind like like in the back, I just like I put on the Inferno like I put on the Tenebrae soundtrack and I listened to it like while I was working. Inferno soundtrack. I haven't listened to the Inferno soundtrack, but it is pretty cool. Imagine having the Suspiria theme as a ringtone. You know what would creep me out is that like creepy like little boy thing at the beginning of like of Deep Red. That would freak me out. Michael Save's World of Horror. Michelle, right? Michelle Save's World of Horror. I love that I can see your messages now, guys. It was like I remember getting that, and you know what? I had that Blockbuster. Like people like rag on Blockbuster and stuff like that, but I picked up like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre documentary, the World of Horror, Argento's World of Horror documentary at my local Blockbuster, and like a bunch of like of those films that I couldn't find at my local mom and pop shops and places like that. So it was always good. So people rag on Blockbuster a lot, but I was able to find a lot of stuff like that there. And my first Mystery Science Theater VHS was bought at a local Blockbuster. It's been a long time since I've seen Do You Like Hitchcock? I first thought you were asking me the question. Right, the ones that like don't that I'm not so big on, but I understand them now. I didn't like Card Player when I first saw it until I found out what Card Player was about, and then I kind of got it. I understood like okay, so it's basically his version of CSI. When I understood that Arjun was watching a lot of CSI and he was doing his version of CSI with Card Player, I kind of got what Card Player was going for, and then I could kind of like appreciate it a bit more and understand it. I think context is king when it comes to a lot of these. Um, Card Player's guilty pleasure. Do you like the tap dancing? Like what's that? Like Mortician? What the hell is it called? The tap dancing like like guy in the do I recommend the Suspiria remake? It's interesting. I mean, it's not the original film. It's not a bad film. It's just Suspiria for me is like it's a classic, and it is one of the most beautiful films. Like when you come across horror, I think it was Elijah Wood actually that said that for him, Suspiria was the most one of the most beautiful films he'd ever seen, and that he considered it a piece of art. Like he considered like this wasn't just a film, this was a piece of art, and it was something that he could put on in the background and not even have the sound turned up. You ever heard a rumor of Arrow doing a hard box Blu-ray set for the Card Player? That'd be a different one. I mean, I heard a rumor, and I don't know if there's any like legitimacy to the rumor because it's truly only a rumor. Uh, that, but I can see the card. They only did the Card Player on DVD, so yeah, I can see that. And it's got a great box, by the way, for the original one. Uh, but I've heard a rumor about Four Flies on Grey Velvet, and I think pretty much everybody that's an Argento fan knows how hard Four Flies and Grey Velvet was to get, and then like Shameless put it out, and you know it was so nice to have it. But I think we all would love to have. I'm speaking for you guys here, but you guys can tell me if I'm wrong. Love to have a nice hard box of Four Flies because it definitely needs a good. Damon agrees with me. It definitely needs a really good release. Now, Four Flies is one of those Argento films that super creep me out, and it's because of that mask. You know that kind of like whatever it is, that little boy mask or whatever that freaky looking mask is. It's only seen a couple times in the film, but it is super creepy. Well, Shameless has the rights to events, so you're correct in that. Now, recently, like Shameless was looking for a distributor, um, and like to distribute their films, they lost the you know, basically the distributor for their films, and Arrow was the people to pick them up and distribute Shameless's films on their website. So that started a connection, a collaboration with with the with the with Shameless. So a lot of people are hoping that that collaboration ends up with a Four Flies on Grey Velvet set. Card players available on Blu-ray at Ronin Flicks. Who put it out? Was that a Scorpion release? Somebody just mentioned the doll, and let's get into that. The doll from Deep Red, by the way, is nightmare fuel for me. To this very day, pictures of that doll creep the hell out of me when I'm watching it. Just hearing the doll, there are times, and I will be bluntly honest, uh, that I had to look away when the doll comes on the screen. Now, for those that like the Saw films, for instance, the doll that you see in the Saw films is a direct inspiration from the doll from Deep Red. That's where they got it from. After the Lindsay Baker set, what would you put in a 3 to 4 Argento set or Fulci or Bava set? Really good questions, actually. So yeah, if you like the doll from, if you've never seen Deep Red, then like check it out because the doll from Deep Red, it's much creepier than the doll from Saw, but that's where the inspiration for the doll from Saw comes from. Scorpio also really Sleepless in Opera. Okay, so what I would put into like an Arrow set, you'd have to put stuff that they already haven't done. I don't think I want to put a set out because I want them to keep. I want to see more of these. This is what I want to see more of. An Auto Lado box set would be cool. Not a lot of movies to put in there. Auto Lado didn't do like like uh, a lot of Giallos, so that'd be a small box set, but it'd be cool. Um, as far as Fulci, God, it'd be hard. I mean, because they put out like some good editions. I mean, like you would have to go with the best. You have to go with like the Don't Torture Duckling, Lizard in Woman's Skin, um, Murder Rock. Hey there, George. Are you excited about the upcoming Fu Manchu set, George? Because I am. I should put this up here somewhere so I can actually see your stuff. You head off on the Shameless Four Flies Blu-ray because you're hoping Arrow will do it. I am too. I didn't hold off. I had to buy it. I was um, Four Flies was one of those that I bought back in the day on in VHS from you know what Video Search Miami. Like a lot of people that are around my age that used to buy collect movies at the time. We all went to Video Search Miami. Dawn of the Dead has gotten pushed back to November. Maybe to give me a chance to get it. I'm not quite sure. I heard that. Uh, you remember Video Search Miami? Right on, Amy. Um, I heard that one of the UHDs that Vinegar Cinema is putting out, that was originally going to be in November, is being pushed forward to October, so that there's not too much like released in the November month. So there is a UHD, a 4K release coming out from Vinegar Syndrome next month. So it'd be interesting to see what they do and what that is. That was the only site shipping Dawn of the Dead to US and Canada. I think you're right, Cinematech. I looked at it and it was like £99, which is quite a bit over here. So let's just see what would it cost me to get like that. So without any tax, it's $170 without any tax or shipping. Yeah, I heard Argento's working on a new film with Azia too, and I would love to see that. I know that he originally was going to do something called The Sandman, but I'm not sure if that got like kind of got pushed back. And but then there was another one that was announced after that. Argento right now, it's a harder time for him getting like, well, obviously it's a harder time for anybody right now, but like it's a hard time for him when it comes to getting funding. Like Dracula 3D did not do him any favors when it came to distribution as well. But I think somebody with some decent deep pockets needs to like really look at Argento and say, let's let's do it. Let's do it once more. Let's make a Jello. Let's swing for the fences. Hard to get funny with the last director was Jack to 3D. It is. I mean, like, but somebody should. I mean, like, he is a brilliant director, but he's a brilliant director that works really well when he has the resources and the people that he can work behind. So do you about like DVD ships down to dead too? It's gonna be hard. Like we're not sure how many to get yet. House of Laughing Windows, but was that by Avati, right? Pupa Avati. That needs a release. I got that on Shameless. I got the DVD. I would love to see a Blu-ray release of that because that is a severely underrated Jello, and I don't hear enough people talking about it. So I'm impressed. Cool points right there, just for just for that. Yeah, Daft Punk is scoring the next Argento film, so I'm down there for that right away. I'm a huge fan of Daft Punk. If you guys ever wonder like what some of the music on my like on my phone is, well, hey there, Dale. A lot of Daft Punk, a bit of Marinus Trench, some soundtracks, and a bit of other stuff. A little bit of everything. But I love Daft Punk, and I listen to their music a lot, especially if I'm walking. I'm gonna. I'd planned to structure this video just a little bit better. Entertainment wise, Phenomenon is probably your favorite. You and Logan are like two peas in the pod. Like say you're going to do an opera inspired supernatural film. Heard the Daft Punk thing was a false rumor. I hope not. I know Daft Punk were fans, so it would be interesting to see. Well, you know one theme song that I love? Don't laugh. Oasis of Fear. I love the music in Oasis of Fear. They play the song all throughout Oasis of Fear, and it's actually done by the lead star of the film. And I was like a huge fan. I was like, oh, this song is getting kind of catchy. And there's if you got them Britta Lindsay, Carol Baker box set, there's a song that's really important to the first film. And when you hear it, you're like, oh, this is kind of this is kind of catchy. I kind of like this one. And then I think two. Then you go to the next movie. Fine. Get to the third movie, which is A Quiet Place to Kill. And you're watching that, and there's a sequence there where that song is used again, and it's like an old friend has just come back into the room. It's like, damn, that song just oh, this song is back. And I had to look it up afterwards. I had to look up the song, even though I got it on the soundtrack, which was fantastic. So one of the great things that I like, Severin 100% like Marks for doing the soundtracks. I want to see more companies do that. Like I see Arrow will do some soundtracks every once in a while. I'd like to see Vincent get into the soundtracks as well. Haven't really seen them like they'll do like some LPs and stuff, but like have some like CD soundtracks included into some of their releases. Blue Underground is really good for doing that. They have like a lot of soundtracks released, and it's a nice way to get like it's we all can't like always afford to get like the to spend a ton of money in LPs like even though we want to. And for me right now, I don't have a record player that's working. But just to like have companies out there that are putting this stuff out, that you're when I got, I think this one here has it. Deep Red, for instance. And I'm pretty sure there's like, yeah, there is. Okay. So the complete soundtrack is the CD number three is right here. Uh, I love that. My Tenebrae release that I got from Synapse has the soundtrack, the Tenebrae. I guess one of my favorites. Um, Anytime I can find, and this is one of the reasons. Like Severin will get me on a film that I'm not quite sure about. If they say, you know what, here's a cheesy Italian movie, I'll be like, I'm not quite sure. It looks pretty fun. Do I really want it? Oh, by the way, we're including the soundtrack for the first 3,000 copies, and I'm sold then. Mass is a good Argento inspired film. I don't know if I've seen that, Dex, so I'll check it out. So thank you for the recommendation. But sorry I got on the rant there about soundtracks, guys. But it is something that's really inspired me, and it's made me collect a lot more Severin releases as well. I think it's German. Nice. I'm looking for like some different like films. I'm I'm going into the whole 31 Days of Horror now, and I'm trying to like just like get things underway and to decide. Hey there, Richard. Dream does amazing soundtracks, Alan. You're incredibly right on that. Argento's Dracula film a good blind buy? It's a it's not a good film, but it's a good bad film. And you know that's the way that I would put it. Like you're gonna get like you like nudity, get lots of nudity, and you like some really like cheesy stuff. I'll put it to you this way: Dracula 3D has some in scenes that are insane that you wouldn't expect to see. Like all of a sudden, Dracula turns into a giant neon green praying mantis. That's a sequence in Dracula 3D. I couldn't make that up if I tried. Uh, my imagination is not that good. Oh, Damien, have a great, have a great. Hopefully, you're cutting it because it's for a good reason. I'm not joking about the praying. I would love to have a T-shirt of that praying mantis. Um, but one thing I will tell you right now is it is a great, great bad film, and in the best possible way. And I do not mean it as an insult. Or I'll put it like this: Dracula 3D to me seems like Dario Argento has stepped over into Jess Franco territory. Uh, Now just think about that for a second. For those that, especially those who've seen that know Jess Franco and done and have, when I get Electric Dreams, I'll definitely check it out because I love that film, Alan. So that will be a future review. So, see, no, I think it's a buy. Will I gotta say, I think it's a buy. If it's a good price, like no, don't spend a lot of money for it. But it's like a Franco film. It When you think of Jess Franco, you automatically think nudity. You think like you think a ton of nudity. You think like movies that sometimes are just kind of insanely crazy, but you can't stop watching them. And not everything makes sense, but you're not quite sure that you would want it to make sense because you think the movie may not be as good if it did. So that's just Franco, but that's also Dario Argento's Dracula 3D. And if that sounds like a fun, if you've ever watched a Jess Franco film, you should be down with Dracula 3D. For those out there, by the way, thank you so much for coming in. I want to say that I'm not going anywhere yet, but I want to say if you're here and you're liking this video, please do hit that like button up there. It just takes a second and it helps out the channel so much, especially if you want to see like notifications coming out when I do these videos. Hey, Ivy, welcome. Hopefully you guys like the new setup. I know you guys can't tell the new setup very well, but I'm using a Snowball blue ice mic for my videos now, and I'm using a new iPad, uh, seventh generation, to actually film this here, so that I can actually use my old one for like get your comments, put up any pictures, anything I need like that. Um, so you'll be seeing. Hopefully, I'm trying really, really hard, and I hope this is coming across to improve and with my videos as I go forward. I'm putting a lot more, not just effort and time, but funding as well into this here. So when I started my Patreon channel and I did all this and I said, this is all for a reason. This is all for the reason. So we're getting there. And thank you guys so much for that. For everybody that's helped out in the super chat, for everybody that's helped out on Patreon, thank you so much because it's enabled this, which wasn't easy. And I went from like lavalier to lavalier breaking on me over and over again, sometimes in the middle of a video to do that. Have I seen Scream Factory's 4K? Yeah, I was actually going to mention that. So Scream Factory, I just announced that they're going to be doing a 4K UHD release of They Live. You like the fried turkey? Thank you so much. That's one of my. I'm trying to do more like pre-taped things, like that are shorter, so that if somebody's coming on the channel, and that they can actually they don't always have to be come into like an hour long or 2 hour long video and feel like overwhelmed. Hopefully, Alan, we'll keep our fingers crossed on the Wi-Fi thing. I am using a new iPad, so let's hope so. By the way, guys, welcome, awesome, to the Call to Cinema because we always do that when somebody new comes into the Call to Cinema. And Awesome 50, by the way, welcome to the Call to Cinema. Hopefully, this is a place that you enjoy and you come back to. So if you guys want me to to reply to those comments, I'm going to welcome Awesome. Thanks, Jar. Uh, okay, so yeah, that's what I'm trying to do, Warlock. So like a better setup for like collaborations and podcasts. That's exactly what I'm working towards right now. That's why I upgraded with the mic. That's why I'm like upgraded with the iPad. Um, it took some time and and some saving. Um, so see, we're like the Patreon super chat stuff. It adds up, for stuff like this. Jennifer, I really liked. I really like Jennifer. Creeped me out. Jennifer's a comic book actually. It's a comic story that Argento that Argento actually like did for the Masters of Horror. Did I know Herschel Gordon Lewis's big box set from Arrow is back in print? I did not know that, George, but I recommend it. It's really good. Is it? Did they take out the book? I wonder if they took the book out for doing for that. They sometimes do that. Thank you, Ian. You think it'll help my channel grow? I hope so. I'm working really hard. Uh, so anytime, by the way, guys, if you, I imagine if D'Argento did the remake to Halloween, I'm not quite sure if I like that. I mean, like, he's got a very unique style to him. Cat o' Nine Tails. Cat o' Nine Tails originally wasn't one of my favorite Argento films, actually, and not because I didn't like most of it. I love most of the film, but because Carl Malden, I'm a huge Streets of San Francisco fan. I love that show. For those of you that are younger, it was a TV series, detective show that had Carl Malden and Michael Douglas actually in it, except for the last season. Last season was Richard Hatch. So this is Cat o' Nine Tails. What I did not like about this is he goes to like a weirder kind of sci-fi sort of territory. I understand what he's going for, but he pretty much says uh, he kind of like eschews the whole idea of like an actual motive for the killings as opposed to like a more of a scientific reasoning behind why the killer is doing what the killer does. So which I like the film, and I love Carl Mullen's character. But because he's the blind guy that like does the like makes the puzzles for like the crossword puzzles and stuff. It's extremely well done. It's just that ending always gets to me. Uh, but I love it. I gotta say I do love it. What was the other Dare Gentle like Masters Horror? Was it Pelts? Was Peltz also there, Argento? Yeah, the one with Meatloaf. Was it Meatloaf in it? Yeah, thanks. I wasn't sure if I was right or not. Jennifer's drawn by Bernie Wrightson. Bernie Wrightson's an amazing artist too. By the way. I love Bernie Wrightson's stuff. Jen's best days are well behind him. I hope not. I mean, awesome. Tenebrae is my favorite. Tenebrae is close to Argento's heart. You can tell. Argento has evolved. Like his even his murder mysteries have evolved. Like when you start watching Argento films, uh, like most of the protagonists, they're guys, and they see something that they don't quite understand. And then we get to Tenebrae, and without giving anything away because I don't want to, give away anything. Basically, now we've got the artist, and his work is being criticized for being like too violent, too misogynistic, something that I'm sure Argento was going through at the time himself. And after that, Argento becomes a dad, and all of a sudden it switches, and the protagonists are no longer male; they're female. So they're like basically they're stand-ins for like his daughters. Like for every father that's got to worry about like this mysterious like evil or dark person or like darkly shadowy person that your daughter's gonna date. And eventually he didn't even need a stand-in because Asia Argento was an actress, and she starred in like movies like Trauma, and because you get people that are definitely like his daughter stand-ins, people like Jennifer Connelly in Phenomenon. But you can see the growth of the artist and the growth of him as a person. It's very much at the beginning of it. It's very much the male and his perspective and a skewed perspective. Um, and it's very me. This is me. This is my thoughts. This is what I see. I love your idea for the General Theme restaurant, Josephine. I would love that. Um, and then he goes to the artist in Tenebrae, and and like I don't have fault you for fake. And then you go to like I'm a dad. I want to protect my kids, but look at all the evil that's out there, like in Suspiria and in Inferno, not Inferno, in like a lot of those films, like what well, look at all the evil out there. How can I protect my kids from all this mysterious stuff, like the ballet school and in Suspiria, and like a lot of stuff like that. It works on so many different levels. Um, when I was younger than this, when I had more hair, I had originally planned to do like a book on like because I was for those that are newer here, uh, I was going to when I finished school I was going to go in acting. I went in a different direction, and I was going to do some writing as well, and I did manage to do and sell some writing at a minor level, a few screenplays and stuff like that. But I wanted to always like do some nonfiction like work, and I wanted to do a exploitation book, and I wanted to do a book on Argento and Giallos in pretty much in general. And I did not like know or have seen half the stuff that I have now back then when I wanted to do it. I was definitely unequipped. I was going in for a battle of wits unprepared. Uh, so when I wanted to write it back then, but still, that's still something that like lingers in the back of my head. I don't think I'd write a book on it now, but I would. Uh, Hopefully, if I get if things work out and we end up like going to Morocco and stuff like that, hopefully that'll be some things that I'll be able to teach some classes on Italian films and giallo in particular, because I'll that's what I'm that's my future. Hopefully, guys, is going to be teaching film. So hopefully that'll work out okay. Hopefully, you guys think I'll be okay with it. Now let's see what I missed. Currently writing satirical novel on contemporary media. That's actually neat. I actually like that idea. Any love for the Suspiria remake? It's very different. I mean, I did not like it. I haven't got through it. I'll be bluntly honest. I have not gotten through the Suspiria one, and not because it's a bad film, because I thought it was actually fairly decently done. I just I just have such love for the original. It's It's good. It's really well done from everything I've seen, and I'm glad that it's different. I'm glad that they didn't try to make it over again. I like the director, so I thought the director was a good choice for Suspiria because I knew that he would do something different. Done a screenshot of what you're going to order tonight. You sent it to me. I'll check it out later. I think one of the things that took me out when I watched the remix of Suspiria initially, well, what I watched of it because I haven't got through it yet, is Suspiria is so bright and vibrant and colorful, and I love it so much. And the other Suspiria, the 2018 one, is so muted and different. But that's kind of what you expect. That's kind of what, not what you expect, but it's like it goes against like the grain, and I like that fact that it goes against that it goes against the grain because you can't remake something like that. And I think that's the reason I can actually like certain remakes more than like some people will like them because for a lot of people it's heresy. When it comes to like, oh, you can't remake this movie. You can, you can remake anything. There's like no law against it. Uh, a lot of people hated the new. Remember when the new Black Christmas came out, like 2019, what, 2020, 2019 Black Christmas? A lot of people hated that movie. And Black Christmas is my favorite movie of all time. 1974. It's my favorite film. So I should hate it because it is nothing like the 1974 film. Nothing like the film. Like there's no Billy. There's no mysterious caller type thing. So I should initially hate this film. This should be a movie that I'm going to hate. But I actually enjoyed it because of that. My favorite. That's actually a good video, but I actually will. I'm not quite sure. I'm not quite sure. It's good. That's a good idea for a video though. So that means I'll come back to you on it. Tilda Swinton's second character of the film. Oh, then you're in good hands here, Awesome, because Black Christmas is definitely my favorite film, and it's the movie that made me fall in love with cinema. When I watched Black Christmas and I started to see sequences like the like Margot Kidder scene, and with the juxtaposed with the kids singing Christmas carols. And I'm Canadian, by the way. I don't know. Tilda Swinton's really good. That's the thing. Tilda Swinton is really good. I can see, like, I can see it because it is Tilda Swinton. If it was anybody else, maybe, but I just really like her. So that's kind of, I can kind of see why. Every few years, so you have a new film that makes you fall in love with cinema all over again. This year, it's being there. I that is Josephine. That's one of the best comments that I've read in a long time, and I like that. And hopefully, that's the same for a lot of you guys out there. It's like you got a movie that got you hooked into cinema, and you're constantly getting hooked back in and falling in love with movies all over again because you're finding something new that's actually reinvigorated your thoughts and your love of the genre. One of the movies, like I have a lot of weird tastes. Like I like a lot of like Z grade stuff. I like a lot of like A grade stuff. I pretty much a lot in between. Um, a lot, and I like a lot of movies. A lot of people like either were kind of on the fence for people, or that people just out and out didn't like. When Mother came out, I was like, didn't think I was going to like it. Then I got the 4K Mother. We sat back. I mean, my better half watched it, and she doesn't normally watch horror films, and she doesn't normally watch like those type of films. And I was like, you know what? I really like this film. It's like I expected it to be like, I thought, well, this is he's going to be more Aronofsky. He's going to be more pretentious, all that type of stuff. But I actually kind of like that. Duke Giallo seems sometimes amateurish, kind of like Scooby Doo. Not at all, actually. I wish there was more. those mystery cartoons that actually worked as well as Scooby Doo. Scooby Doo has a sort of like Brent's kind of subtle genius to it, and you don't really notice it at first until you realize that there's like a dozen or more like Scooby Doo knockoffs that came out, and one's by Hanna Barbera themselves. And you know what? None of them work as well as Scooby Doo does. Not one of them. So there's just that it's just that special formula that it has. Do you know how many times they tried to replicate it? Hey there, Kubrick. Like the new setup? But do I think? I think Jello is a very unique genre. It's in that it's a murder mystery, it's a slasher, it's artsy, it's can be sleazy, and it can be very very different, very unique. It's one of my favorite genres of film, and it goes right up there with like film noir. Film noir is definitely one of my favorite genres of cinema, and that there's a big there is a hand holding between these. Film noir is like is it's darker, it's usually it's angular a lot of times, it's shadowed. You don't always know like the what the real what their real motives are, and you get a lot of that in Giallo as well. So there's definitely a tip the hat for those genres. You watched the player from Robert Altman recently. I haven't seen the player in a while, Josephine. I got that one here a while back on Blu-ray. Actually, I got that at like a Dollarama of all places, and I really enjoyed it. So I got to watch it again. I got to watch it again in the when I to check that out in the near future. Favorite Altman film? You know what? I'm actually going to look it up. I'm going to cheat um, because I'm not quite sure, but I think I know. And if I'm correct, then I'll say because it's between a couple, and it's definitely not shortcuts. I really like Tanner 88, but that's not a favorite because my go-to is always probably going to be the same. That's the Long Goodbye, which I love. But then I think like he did Nashville, uh, and Nashville's fantastic. So it's really hard with Altman. I mean, like I love Nashville. I love Mash. I think Mash is brilliant. Then you get to stuff like The Long Goodbye, which I think is super genius. Argento's more than just Giallo. He's definitely more than just Giallo. Um, Suspiria, although it gets put in for Giallo a lot, it's not really Giallo. I mean, I think Suspiria would not be considered Giallo if Argento's name wasn't attached to it. Like there's a murder aspect to Suspiria. There's not much for guessing who it is with Suspiria though. It's a supernatural mystical thing, as it is. Uh, Now some people would call it will like kind of like just go on the edge and say, well, that's a supernatural Giallo because you got that big like Giallo sequence at the beginning of the film. I don't think Argento cannot do that the sequence like that. He's got to have a brilliant like murder set piece in his film. There's got to be some brilliant. It's got to be beautiful. Mother's Trilogy is about a subversive coven. It is, but there's more. I mean, like, there's so much. That's the thing. The thing about Argento, and I think this is one of the things that works for Argento so well. I didn't get the new Alfred Hitchcock collection on 4K yet. I do want it. I mean, like, I hinted around to my better half that I wanted it for review purposes. She didn't bite. So eventually down the road, I'll get it, and I want to review it, especially since I hear really, really great things about the Vertigo 4K. I heard that the Vertigo 4K is the best looking 4K in that list. Have I seen VHS as documentary? Actually, I have actually. It wasn't gonna try me. I did try, but it's her birthday this month. But so I do have something cool coming for her. Which I she picked it out. I asked her like she found it, and it was like with my better half. She collects art, um, and she collects a lot of like kind of different, kind of unique art. Like she has like a Godzilla picture. When it's my wife's birthday, it is September 25th, and she's 7 years younger than me, and so much smarter too. And yet she stuck her with me. So maybe not that smart, but uh, all right, guys. It's getting late in the UK. Have a great evening. I hope you come back, and I hope you enjoyed it. So hopefully we'll see you here on another live stream. My wife's birthday is the same birthday as Will Smith and Mark Hamill. She'll love that because she Mark Hamill is her favorite Joker, and Batman the Animated Series is her favorite Batman. September 21st, so you're close to her birthday. And I'm in March. I'm in Aries. Same, Josephine. Always a pleasure. But as of right now, it's been a very long day for me. I will Libra is the opposite of Aries, and yet we're still here. Yeah, maybe that's maybe what's the Paul Abdul sign, right? Opposites attract. You have Joker TV. See, I'm not. I'll be honest with you. I was not a huge fan of the Joker movie. I think if it would have got anything else, I maybe would have liked it a little bit more. Maybe would have got a King of Comedy too or something like that. Uh, but uh, but everybody loves that film. And I do think he did a really good job in like portrayal of the film. Like, but I just didn't like. If anybody asked me, well, who's your favorite Joker? I'm like, well, not Phoenix, because that's not the Joker. But he definitely does a good job of playing a character that who's named the Joker. But would I do I in any way think that I could ever see his character the way it's portrayed on the film ever be somebody uh, like be somebody that like actually I would take seriously as in like fighting Batman? No, not at all. There's no there's a sense of genius that Heath Ledger does, that Jack Nicholson does, or that Mark Hamill does with the character of the Joker that makes you really, really get like how this character can exist in Batman's world and be like a formidable opponent. Um, you're not getting that. You're getting like a very different film when when it comes to Phoenix as I don't think it is. I mean, is it really though? Um, because really, what is it like with the Bruce Wayne thing? Are you talking about the death, like the murder, of the parents at the end, or do you mean like when he goes to like the to his house, and he goes through the gates and he does the smile thing? This is gonna get me a little bit of hate, and I hope it doesn't because everybody has their own opinion. So understand this is just my opinion on like the film. But for me, it rang shallow. It's like I felt like they were trying to like talk about like mental illness and how society fails and all that, but I don't really think they got it. Uh, I think to an extent, in my opinion, this is just my opinion, it fails to deliver on the message. Uh, and that works more like when you say like there's a guy that like a psychological thriller of a guy that like pretty much becomes like the Joker character who thinks he's the Joker. Uh, the way that it works for me, that it works best for me, is in like and I do go back to King of Comedy because there's like whether people want to admit there's a lot of similarities. Um, and the biggest one, and the one that I got to like stress is the hallucinations in the film. Um, there's like there's a lot of them, and it works for me a lot more personally on a personal level if I take more of the film as an hallucination. We obviously see like the big one, as you know, but like how much of it actually did happen? How much of it like does actually happen in the film? And that's give it props for that. So that's just my thoughts on it. And a lot of people love the film. A lot of people say it was their favorite film of that year. I can't say that it was for me, but I liked Mother, and a lot of people hated Mother. So everybody's got their own opinion. Um, and that's at the end of the day, if the movie works for you, fantastic. I am not the person that's going to tell you that the movie is not good, because that's your movie. You think Parasite was better? They're very different films, though. I do like Parasite. Try the name. I love the Name of the Rose. Sean Connery and like Christian Slater, if I remember correctly. The mystery one. If that is that the one you're talking about? Because if that's the one, I really did like that. Or am I thinking? Am I thinking of another? Maybe I'm thinking of another film, and I mess. Okay, good. Just want to make sure I didn't mess it up. All right, guys. So here we are at 71 minutes, and you know what time it is? It's that time. The middle-aged priest. That's the one. So before I go, quick survey. Um, and how do you find the sound on this here on this microphone? For those that came in late and don't know, I'm using a snowball ice mic as opposed to a small lavalier tape to here, and I'm using a new iPad to do this. So before you go, heading on your way out, like find sound work. Okay, excellent. That's one thing I needed. I definitely needed to know. Thank you guys so much because I was very nervous about making this video, and that's why I didn't prepare like more of a topic to the video because I didn't know if it was going to be like is the sound going to work okay? Is it gonna is it gonna be okay with the picture? This is a new iPad. Is it gonna am I gonna have issues with the internet? But guys, thank you so much. Uh, I am Aaron. This here is my movie library, or part of it anyway. You are the call to cinema. You guys rock. Thank you for another fantastic evening. I promise I'll be a bit more prepared when we do our next video. And till next time, I'm going to let the beard grow a little bit more, and I'll see you soon. Have a great one. May the cop be with you. I do like that.